The Miami Hurricanes don't want or even need a star QB out of the portal. Or do they? What's going on, Canes fans? That's right, the lights behind me are green, so you know what that means. Another transfer portal update video. If you're enjoying these, or you just want to make sure you stay up to date with all of the portal moves, both players leaving and players coming in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. So in today's video, we're going to take a few minutes and discuss some of the most talked about quarterbacks that are currently in the portal. And then we're going to see if maybe any of those could be a good fit at Miami. But I also want to ask you a question, and I want you to be thinking about this throughout the video. And then at the end of it, comment down below and let me know your answer. And the question is this: does Miami need to go after a transfer portal quarterback? Do you think that they should? Or do you believe that they should just rock with Emory Williams, Judd Anderson, and the incoming freshman, Luke Nickel? Because there's been a large portion of fans that would rather see them put a lot of those funds towards the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, an area where Miami struggled in 2024. But I will give you a few minutes to think about it. We'll talk about this. And then I'm going to give my answer, kind of how I feel at the end. Right now, one of the hottest names in the portal is quarterback Fernando Mendoza out of Cal. Mendoza spent 2 seasons at Cal and threw for 3,004 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions with a 68.7% completion percentage in 2024. This guy is roughly 6'5", 225 pounds. And keep in mind that he's not a dual threat guy. So you're going to want a good solid O-line there to protect him, which Miami does have. Now, this guy does make a lot of sense for Miami. This is a guy that is a Miami native. He actually played at Columbus High School, and his dad played with Mario Cristobal in high school. So he has some obvious ties here to Miami, and there could be some reasons for him to return to South Florida after, spending 2 years all the way out west in California. Now, there is a bit of an issue. I believe his brother plays at Indiana, and, they've kind of had this crazy season in 2024, and their fan base is pushing hard to try to get him to reunite with his brother, have them play at the same school. And also, this is a guy that wants to be a guaranteed starter. I'm sure that he feels like he put up impressive enough numbers in 2024, and he's probably thinking NFL. So he's going to want to go to a place that is the easiest path to get him there. Now, with that being said, he would have 2 years of eligibility remaining, which would be nice, but it doesn't mean that he plays those full 2 years. He might just go 1 and then leave. We would have to see. Next up on the list is Darian Mensah from Tulane. Now, I wanted to take a bunch of notes and talk about this guy because he's probably the #1 most talked about quarterback in the transfer portal. But we're not going to do a deep dive in this video on Mensah because he's already committed. Manny Diaz swooped in. That's right, Manny Diaz at Duke swooped in and got this guy to commit to the Blue Devils. And I know you're probably scratching your head. You're thinking, what the heck? Like, didn't they just have Malik Murphy, who transferred in from Texas? Duke just went 9-3, and Malik Murphy put up okay numbers. Well, he hit the transfer portal, and Duke did need a quarterback. And Manny Diaz knows how to work that portal. We've seen it in the past, and he made quick work of bringing in Darian Mensah. Now, when it comes to Malik Murphy, there's a portion of the fan base with Miami fans who are interested in him, but I feel like that's one you have to tread carefully because it seems like he might be just looking for more money. A lot of guys, are leveraging the portal to get more money, and this is a guy who that was already his second stop going to Duke. And, it's kind of a bad look if you're doing it just to try to get more money, in my personal opinion. But I'll let you guys decide. His stats in 2024 were 2,933 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 60.3% completion percentage. He's about 6'5", 230, and would have 2 years of eligibility remaining. So is Malik Murphy a potential take for you? What do you think? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say pass. This next quarterback is not technically in the portal, but there are rumors everywhere swirling saying that he's going to enter his name, and that is Washington State QB John Mateer. This guy threw for 3,139 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions with a 64.6% completion percentage. And then get this, he also rushed for 826 and 15 touchdowns. He's about 6'1", 219 pounds, and would have 2 years of eligibility remaining. You know, that's where we got Cam Ward, Washington State. So could Miami go 2 for 2 and get a big-time quarterback from Washington State once again? This is the guy, again, I understand why he is high on many lists, but it's still yet to be determined if he is going to enter the transfer portal. With the type of numbers that he put up there, you know, the fan base loves him. They're going to try to keep him. But money talks, and there are going to be a lot of offers kind of thrown his way. I know he's not in the portal, so you talk about, you know, communication and things like that with other teams, but we know how that works. Let's just be real and open and honest here. So he's going to have some offers, and I love that he has 2 years of eligibility remaining. We're going to get to my take again at the tail end of the video here, but I will say that having multiple years of eligibility left is big for me for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the one and done worked with Cam Ward, and it could work again, but there's a reason why I want them to have more than 1 year of eligibility left, and we'll get to it here in a second. You probably guessed who's coming up next, and that's Liberty quarterback Caden Salter. I got bad news, however, if you are a Salter fan. Colorado wants him, and they want him bad. He does also already have a visit set up with Syracuse on Friday, and honestly, I thought that this was going to be a quarterback that Florida State was going to pursue, someone that they really wanted, and I think there was some interest there. But instead, they had former Boston College quarterback Thomas Castellanos come in and visit. He already committed. Castellanos has committed to Florida State, so Mike Norvell has his guy, and their fan base is kind of split on it. You know, a lot of people believe that he quit on the team, you know, playing at Boston College, and that's kind of a bad look. He is a dual threat guy, and they're hoping that maybe, you know, what Mike Norvell did with Jordan Travis, can he do that with Castellanos? Because DJ was doo-doo DJ. We called him that for a reason. He was slow, not very good. So is Castellanos that guy for Florida State? Can he turn around the 2-10? It didn't take him any time at all to go ahead and commit. I don't know how much money they're giving him, but I thought he might kind of visit a few more places and give it some time, but he pulled the trigger. So anyways, back on Caden Salter. This guy did take a bit of a step back in 2024 when it comes to his stats. He threw 1,886 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions with a 56.3% completion percentage. Now, he did rush for 587 and 7 touchdowns, but these numbers are not even close to what he did in 2023. And I'm not going to pretend like I know right now why those numbers dropped off. He played and played a lot, so I don't know if there were issues at Liberty with the offensive line or the receivers. I'm not really sure. But again, stats just not really what they were in the previous season. He's about 6'1", 200 pounds, and would only have 1 year of eligibility remaining. I'm just going to be blunt and just, you know, say what I did with Malik Murphy. Not a huge Caden Salter fan. I was a bit on the Salter train in 2023. You know, I did some videos talking about him when he was thinking about transferring somewhere else. But, you know, after seeing some of the stats and just watching some highlights and things for 2024, And with only 1 year left, which means he wants to be that guy and he expects to be that guy if he's going to transfer somewhere, not really hype on this guy personally. There are many more quarterbacks in the transfer portal, but those are some of the biggest names that everybody seems to want. Of course, you also have former Florida State quarterback Luke Kromenhoek, who is in the portal, but I think that guy wants 7 figures, or at the very least his dad does. And, kind of left on a bad note leaving Florida State. This is an unproven guy. This is someone who there is just no shot, man. There's no way that you drop 7 figures on a guy unless he's already produced big-time numbers, in my opinion, multiple seasons consistently at another big-time school. So I just don't think he's going to be able to earn that. A school has to be willing to take a chance on him, and I don't think that's what Miami is looking to do, in my opinion. So going back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, does Miami need a star quarterback on this roster out of the transfer portal? And I think it's a tricky question, right? It kind of depends on the details, who they go for, who they're bringing in. But I will say this, at least at this point in time, while I'm filming this video, I don't know that I want Miami to pursue another one-and-done guy. I think that if they're going to go for a portal guy, I think it should be someone who has at least 2 years of eligibility remaining, and then bring that guy in and let them compete. I'm talking a true open competition between the portal quarterback, Emory Williams, Judd Anderson, and of course the freshman coming in, Luke Nickel. If you bring in a one-and-done guy, they are coming in, that's going to be an expensive quarterback. They're not going to come in with wanting to go to the NFL and then end up riding the pine during the season because they lost out in spring. That's just not going to be how it works, and they're not going to come here anyways if that's the case. And everyone always says, we love open competition, and that's what it should always be. But when you bring in a star player that you spend $1 to $2 million on, the guy is going to start no matter what. So I don't really think that Miami should go that route again unless there is just the absolute perfect fit. Because I also think if you do that again, you chance maybe losing a guy like Emory Williams. And I'm not saying that Emory Williams is the next great Miami quarterback that leads Miami to a national championship. I don't know. We've only saw small little samples of this guy. But I think they should bring in a guy with multiple years of eligibility and let them battle it out on Green Tree. Now, I will say that Mendoza does make a lot of sense. I don't know necessarily if he's the guy that I personally would say that is the one. Like Miami needs to go after that guy and really make sure that they try to get him. But you can't deny, with all the ties to Miami and the history and the experience and 2 years of eligibility, you can't deny the fact that there might be interest from Dawson and Mario and the Miami Hurricanes. I think that they probably at least pick up the phone. They probably have a conversation with him and maybe even try to set up a visit. I don't know if Mendoza is open to coming to Miami. That's yet to be determined, but we'll see. Obviously, I also agree with the crowd that says a lot of money needs to be spent on corners and safeties and some guys that can make an immediate impact. I know they brought in a few guys in 2023. Most of them didn't pan out, overall. But that's where some money definitely needs to be spent. But that's just my personal take and opinion. Just keep in mind that this changes constantly. I mean, I before I started to record this video, Castellanos was just visiting Florida State. So I was going to make some comments about him. And by the time I hit the record button, I refreshed and looked, and he had already committed to Florida State. So heck, by the time this comes out, Mendoza might have already committed somewhere. I don't know. It's fluid. It's constantly evolving and changing. So just always keep that in mind. But, if looking at this list we've given today, I'm not really a fan of Salter. Mensa's already gone. I'm really not a fan of Malik Murphy. Mateer could make sense if this guy ends up hitting the portal because he is a dual threat guy. And Mendoza, even though he's not a dual threat guy, you have a pretty solid O-line at Miami. And if you have a strong run game, to pair with it, then having kind of a pocket passer guy back there could be okay. Some people are calling him a poor man's Emory Williams or comparing him to Brad Kaya, but saying he's not quite up to that level, so it would be kind of a downgrade. I do think either way, Miami needs to bring in another quarterback, though, because, let's say Emory wins the starting job and Emory goes down. Is Judd ready? If Judd's not ready, are we going to play a freshman? Luke Nichols a dog. I think he's a hidden gem. But is he going to be ready? That 2025 schedule looks a little tougher on paper right now than it did in 2024. So I do think they got to bring a guy in. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the coaching staff approaches this portal cycle at the quarterback position. So do not be shy. Let me know. As I said, we're going to keep cranking out the transfer portal update videos. I am, however, for the people who made it to the end of this, I am having kidney stone surgery. So that is going to be happening this Friday, Friday the 13th. Woo! Friday the 13th, I'm having kidney stone surgery. And they're expecting me to be down for somewhere around probably 5 to 7 days, which really blows because we're right here in the meat of transfer portal season. But I'll try to keep pumping out some content as best I can. But just as a heads up, if all of a sudden Coop disappears for an entire week, if big news is dropping, maybe I can record them from the phone on the couch. I don't know. But just as a heads up, know that I'm okay. Just had surgery and I've got to take it easy. I'll probably be all loopy on pain meds and stuff. So, keep that in mind. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family. But at the end of the day, I got to say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one.